Climate change, a global crisis that is claiming lives, destabilizing livelihoods and destroying the environment. Vihiga County, which is located in the western part of Kenya, is among many other counties across the country facing serious effects of climate change in the African continent. Globally, various efforts are being undertaken, including just concluded COP26 that took place in Glasgow, Scotland, where world leaders and climate change pundits met and influenced the rest of the world and are coming up with the mitigation measures in combating climate change.
I would say climate change is the single most threat to mankind in the world today. And as you are aware, climate determines production systems on this planet. Climate actually is the one that makes life possible on this planet. And therefore, any threat to climate on this planet means is a direct threat to the survival of mankind.
The county government of Vihiga is a model county on matters climate change, with her governor Dr. Wilbur Tichilo being the chair of Environment and Climate Change Committee at the Council of Governors. Through Environment, Water, Energy and Natural Resources Department, the county government of Vihiga has set up governance structures that enable mitigating, adapting and building resilience toward the scorching effects of climate change. Setting up of the Climate Change Directorate broke the ice towards tremendous strides that will oversee climate change activities.
There was nothing on climate change in Vihiga County. Totally nothing. Nobody knew anything about climate change. There was no act in place, and there was no policy in place. There were no legislations in place, and nobody was mainstreaming matters on climate change at the county level. And 3 years now, I want to say that we have an act, we have the policy, we have the legislations, and the matters of climate change, we began to operationalize them. So all this is because of the initiative of His Excellency, the Governor of Vihiga County, Dr. Wilbur Tichilo, who is also the chairman of the Council of Governors in charge of climate change and environment in the whole country.
As a youth climate change champion, I'm so much encouraged and inspired by the efforts of our Honorable Governor Wilbur Tichilo for the effort he has done towards mitigating climate change. One, he goes down in history books for having sponsored the bill on climate change when he was the MP of Emwa. That is very encouraging. He also is the chair of the climate change on the Council of Governors, and then also towards rolling out the bill in the county, the Act, the Climate Change Act. He has played a major role towards, of course, rolling out the Climate Change Act, and also his effort, we've seen him in Scotland, and of course what he has done in the international forums. We are so proud as you.
Ascended into law, the Vihiga Climate Fund Act 2019 was amended in 2020. Policies and regulations set up the legal framework, observed as the key and stable foundation for climate change-related investments. Establishment of the County Climate Change Steering Committee chaired by Dr. Wilbur Tichilo and the Planning Committee creates clear governance structures that budget, source for funds and approve development proposals that spearhead climate change-related development at the grassroots level. As per the Act, climate change sensitization to Vihiga residents and the election of the ward climate change planning committees opens up leeway for Vihiga residents to fully participate in climate change investments, a move that will save the 30th county from adverse effects of climate change.
Katika climate change unit tumefanya kazi nyingi sana, na baadhi ya kazi ambayo tumefanya ni establish zile ward climate change planning committees katika kila ward. We have established these committees in 25 wards. Na katika ile process ya kuestablish ni communities ambazo zilikuwa zina identify members, na mobilization ilikuwa done so that to involve the youth, women, people with disabilities, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, the elders and the men. So wakati wa kuestablish, members wa community walikuwa wanakuja pamoja, na kila category, tuseme kama ni wamama, wanachagua mama mmoja anawakilisha katika hiyo ward committee. Na tulikuwa tunahakikisha ya kwamba sehemu zote za kila ward, kama ward iko na sublocations 5, tulikuwa tunahakikisha at least kila sublocation ipate kiti kimoja ama ipate kuwa represented on that committee.
Through the Directorate of Climate Change, ward planning committees have been inducted, sensitized and trained on identification proposal writing of projects that will mitigate, adopt and build climate change resilience across the 25 wards.
After establishment ya hizi committees, lililofuata ni inaitwa induction training. Induction training ni pale ambapo tulikuwa tunafundisha hizi committees vile ya kutekeleza majukumu yao. Tunafundisha kuhusu mambo ya mazingira in general, mambo ya climate change, na hasa majukumu yao katika hizi kamati, ambayo pakubwa ni kutekeleza miradi ya climate change in the grassroots. So hizi committees zote 25 ziko inducted, na baada ya hapo tunaenda around ili hizi committees ambazo ziko established ziweze kuchagua viongozi wao, chairperson na secretary.
James Nyabera is the chairman of Tambua Ward Climate Change Committee, and he is a proud climate change champion practicing horticulture as a mitigative measure toward food security. James calls the youth to take the center in fighting climate change.
Encourage other farmers to change the methods of farming. You realize that due to climate change, there are seasons where we have drought, and this affects that's food supply into the market. For example, maize. Maize is adversely affected by drought. So farmers should, one, come up with invest more in horticulture, well placed on championing for matters climate change, because the changes in weather conditions, of course, due to climate change, are so profound. Of course, it's going to affect the lives of the youthful generation, and even the generation to come.
The National Treasury, through financing locally led climate action, and the World Bank, supports the county government in implementing climate-friendly projects and programs. Recently, they visited the county on assessment tour to find out initiative taken by the county government in implementing climate change programs. They held deliberations with the County Climate Change Risk Assessment Technical Committee, which draws together senior officers from various departments, including but not limited to water, environment, health, meteorology, education, climate change and agriculture.
I'm a program manager in the Financing Locally Led Climate Action. That's a program that is, the idea is to help national and county governments manage climate risks and build resilience of the communities against the impacts of the climate change and the climate risks. What brought us to Vihiga is the issue of participatory climate risk assessment is at the heart of LOCA, because it's locally led. The communities have to identify and know and come up with solutions of the climate risks that they face. There's no better one placed to understand this than the communities themselves. And because this program, Financing Locally Led Climate Action, the whole is underpinned on the fact that resources should be decentralized and devolved, including decisions. So what brought us here is precisely that, to test the participatory climate risk assessment tool which was developed, which really is to enable communities identify the risks that they face and also come up with the kind of solutions and the kind of investments that they want to have. So that is what we are coming to test here. If it's a learning process for both us and also at the county. So this is something that we will scale out later to the rest of the 47 counties.
So this program is a national level program, and so every single county in Kenya can participate and will participate. And so there will be some criteria, some performance criteria through which they can participate and benefit from the program at a basic level. And then even as they perform more, they can receive more funds. So even as Vihiga is the first mover, we're learning from this and want to adapt it. But every single county in Kenya has the opportunity to benefit from this program.
Vihiga is a model county. The one reason why we chose Vihiga also is because they had pretty much everything in place. They had the structures, they had the regulations, the policies, and so they were ready. So we chose them and see how it goes on from there. There are two kinds of grants that FLOCA is giving. One is the County Climate Change Institutional Grants, which supports counties to put up structures, strengthen institutions, put up policies in place. That's an average of about $10,000, which translates to about 11 million shillings. This was supposed to have been disbursed this financial year, and again the next financial year, but we missed out on the inclusion of FLOCA in the finance bill this financial year. That will be carried forward to the next financial year. So we are hoping that it will be double allocation. But that's something that's still in the works, and when it comes, most likely it's going to be from next financial year, that is July. Yes. So that's the institutional grant.
So the program itself is $150 million from the World Bank. We'll also have 31 million euros from the German government. The government of Kenya itself is also providing funding, and we're encouraged to see that counties themselves, I know Vihiga County has already put its own money in this year's budget. I think there's an amount of 30 million, and has committed to put 2% of its development budget into the County Climate Change Fund. The amounts available to each individual county will be based on their performance. So at this time, I cannot say how much will be available for Vihiga County, but we do know that in next financial year, there'll be at least 22 million shillings for capacity building, and we hope Vihiga performs well, and even bigger amount to go into actual projects on the ground.
They met Mwibona and West Bunyore Ward Climate Change Committees to ascertain how they have been involved in the county climate change governance.
First of all, after Climate Change Act was done at the county level, now it rolled back to the wards. So ward administrator was to call for a meeting of the whole ward. Like for example, Mwibona ward has 4 sub-locations. So we had to have representation from each and every sub-location, equal people who came to the meeting, and then it's where we held an election where we got the 6 members.
So we've come to Vihiga because Vihiga is, as you know, one of the fast-moving counties in terms of implementing the FLOCA program, which is really a leader both in Kenya but also globally on how you use local communities and work with them to finance climate action. So in that sense, today we met with 2 of the ward level climate change committees, and it was very interesting for us because, as I say, Vihiga is a front runner. So it was very interesting for us to meet with them, discuss how were they formed, how do they have their discussions, how do they highlight what are the key climate actions that they would like to do at their level, and then how we kind of work together with them to ensure that those actions can be supported.
We are very encouraged by what we've seen here in Mwibona Ward. We also met with West Bunyore Ward County Climate Committees, where they have identified issues around water, rehabilitation of water sources, including replacing eucalyptus trees that have affected water sources in the county. And we're very encouraged to see the ownership that is there from communities, but also the partnership with the county government officials, including the ward administrators.
The county government of Vihiga has implemented various projects and programs to safeguard our mother nature. The county has embarked on the restoration of forests. Lake Maragoli Hills and Kibiri is ongoing. So far, more than 60,000 seedlings have been planted on a 50-acre hectare, part of Maragoli Hills, with an office block being established to help the ineffective management of the hills, which is a major water tower in the county. More than 1 million tree seedlings have been planted in the entire county in a fight against global warming.
Unajua mlima wa Maragoli ni ile yenye tunaiita kwa kimombo water towers. Iko na mito ambayo ni chemichemi ambayo ni source ya maji. Kwa hivyo tukipanda miti, hiyo mito yenye ilikuwa imekauka itaweza kuleta maji, na ikileta maji katika sehemu zote mitoni, na hivyo tutakuwa na maji ya kutosha, na hivyo watu wataweza kupanda mimea na watu wataweza kupata maji ya kutosha.
The county government of Vihiga is also finalizing the Vihiga Cluster Water Project, which has embraced solar technology as a way of promoting the use of green energy. Human activities are the main source of the climate crisis. Activities such as sand harvesting are seriously causing soil erosion that impact negatively on nature.
This is very serious. Unless we address this, it is just but a time bomb. Kwa sababu tayari tumepoteza maisha ya mama kule Inavi. So hawa vijana wanapata hapa riziki bila kujua pia maisha yao yako hatarini. So mpaka serikali yetu ya county tuweke vichwa pamoja. We address this issue. Hatuna mvua ya kutosha kwa sababu ya ukataji wa miti kule juu, Maragoli Hills.
As time went on, people studied what is called lumbering. You know what is lumbering? That's harvesting forests, natural forests, cutting forests and making timber and many other products. So human beings started cutting forests. And you know, forests are called sinks of carbon dioxide. They are the ones that absorb carbon dioxide. And since I came in place and I'm an expert of climate change, we are doing a lot of things. Maragoli Hills, yes, there has been so many initiatives on Maragoli Hills, but they have had no impact. So we have decided as a county government to ensure that we do a proper, well-managed afforestation program that will have impact, where we are not just planting trees, we are growing trees.
Some of the deadliest effects of global warming that have hit the county very hard are landslides, floods, food insecurity, and drought. Through the community forest associations, the county government has embarked on a journey to protect its water towers.
Sasa niko kwa shamba naongeza mahindi. Kwa sababu nilipanda na haikutoka vizuri. Mvua ilikuwa kidogo na ikawa nimepanda na mbolea mbili ya kienyeji na ya kisungu. Sasa mvua haikuingia vizuri sana kwa hiyo mbegu ya nini, kwa hiyo mbolea ya kienyeji. Ikabidi sasa mahindi haikutoka vizuri. Hai sitakuwa na mazao vizuri kwa sababu hii shamba nikipanda hii yote hizi huwa natoa kama gunia 7 hivi. Lakini saa hii itabidi ninunue mahindi ndio nifikisha penye mimi nataka kufika.
Be that as it may, some residents in the county have taken it upon themselves to protect the environment. Roderick Ambuka is the owner of Roddy's Hotel in Luanda, and when you step your foot in the hotel, besides being welcomed by an aura of a variety of delicacies, you will be received by a lovely greenery of the trees he has planted, mostly bamboo that also provides cool breeze and shade to his patrons.
The more the population grows, the consumption of the destruction of nature also becomes kidogo. So you will find at the end of the day, in another 10 years, 20 years to come, the biggest war or challenge in the world will not even be the atomic bomb. Actually, it's going to be fighting for recovery of nature.
According to him, he has invested in the production of tree seedlings that he continuously plants and also sells due to his passion for the environment. We also have several climate change champions and enthusiasts who are committed to walking the walk of restoring our climate.
Miti ni mali, yes, it is very, very true. You plant one tree today, it will give you, see, these trees are, there is no way mankind or the human, the kingdom on earth can do without trees. They use carbon oxide that we give out, they give us oxygen. So there is no way we can do without the good environment, the good nature. We just have to do it. And Miti ni Mali is the sense that last year I bought one car from the trees I planted in 2014, which I sold for about 3 million and bought one car. So it is a long-term investment.
Climate change pundit Dr. Otichilo, who is also a space scientist, calls for the implementation of the climate change bill in 2016. That was to be a beam of light in the quest of saving Mother Nature from more carbon emissions. But according to him, there is little progress on that. The bill seeks to put more stringent measures to ensure industry comply with the use of sustainable energy solutions like green energy.
I'm calling upon the Kenya Climate Change Working Group and all the civil societies that are here. Can you please sit down and make a decision and choose whoever is your representative that you want to be represented in that council, so that you can forward the name to the president, and the president can then constitute that council and make it operational.
With Vihiga setting the pace and becoming a model county on climate change-related governance and projects implementation milestones, it remains a collective responsibility for both the government and all residents or Kenyans to reduce the harmful activities like sand harvesting, use of charcoal instead of green energy, and deforestation. Our climate change, our nature, our responsibility.